movie industry. You have heard him and seen him in performances in over 140 films. He's met and influenced many world leaders, and now he's about to tell you how to unite the America he loves.
That job's filled.
Unique. Brilliant. And unpredictable. Robert Davi is a Renaissance man who writes, directs, sings, and does it all with excellence.
Yes, okay, we're all very impressed, but let's get on with it now.
Robert Davi believes he should use his voice to both repay and help unite America, the America that made his dreams come true.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Robert Davi Show. And welcome to The Robert Davi Show. I'm Mike Garey, sitting in for Robert Davi, out on assignment. Our best to Robert. He should be returning shortly. I hope everybody out there listening around the globe and around the country on CRNTalk.com and all of our great affiliates had a wonderful and happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy Kwanzaa. And we are broadcasting live here on CRN Digital Talk Radio, also available on Facebook.com/CRNTalk. And like I said, on all of our fantastic affiliates around the Southwest and around the country. I am joined by one Nick Davi. Nick, how are you?
Hey, Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Actually, I'm a little bit disconsolate today because this is year 3, I believe, where Christmas has been significantly altered, at least in my case, with COVID. And folks, I'm getting sick of it. I am getting pretty sick of it. And, you know, if you've listened to me before on this show or any of those shows on CRN Digital Talk Radio, you might know that I am a centrist Democrat. And so I don't really buy into the very far, I wouldn't even call it, you know, based on any sort of political ideology. I just base it on rejection of science. I do believe that the vaccine works, the vaccine is effective, but this new Omicron variant, the data is showing now that the virus is mutating, and when you hear a mutation of a virus, people think, oh no, this is going to be 10 times worse. But folks, if you talk to any sort of scientific expert when it comes to biology, evolutionary biology that is, this is what the virus will do. The virus, it doesn't behoove the virus to kill its host. It behooves the virus to actually keep the host healthy and alive, because therefore the virus can then thrive within that host. So this is actually kind of a good thing, saying that this virus is becoming far less virulent when it comes to hospitalizations and deaths, that this virus is evolving itself to become more effective as a virus to replicate itself by keeping its host alive. Most recent data you're seeing out is that the majority of hospitalizations with the Omicron variant are those who are not vaccinated. And I might get in trouble from my liberal brothers and sisters, but now it's not being vaccinated is the test, it's being boosted. If you're not boosted in the eyes of a lot of people, it's just as you've not been vaccinated. Why is this important for me personally is because my Christmas Eve plans and my Christmas dinner plans were both canceled. Not canceled necessarily, but significantly altered.
Mine were canceled.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of COVID?
Not because of COVID, but
other stuff going on?
Other stuff going on, yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry to hear that for you too, man. It's a lot, you know? Like, it's really frustrating at this point that we just can't seem to get things right.
But what is right, though? I mean, here's the scenario why both my Christmas Eve and Christmas night plans were canceled is because one member of the party, supposed to be 24 people were supposed to be there on Christmas Eve, 18 on Christmas night. One member of the family tested positive for COVID. Very light symptoms. I should mention that family member was boosted and vaccinated. Very, very benign symptoms, that is. But because she was tested positive and then other members of her family were exposed to her, they were not permitted to come over to the house. Therefore, other members of the family weren't permitted to come to the house. And so a head count from 24 was whittled down to 6. The next day, it turns out that another family member was exposed to a toddler who was symptomatic but had an inconclusive test. And so therefore that event was canceled. And sad to say, Nick, and I often lament the way that we cover COVID in the media, especially in right-leaning media. But I think at this point with the Omicron variant, as we're seeing that it's not dangerous to those who are vaccinated, it's not dangerous to those who are vaccinated and boosted, that maybe we should take this a little bit differently now. Maybe this isn't March 2021. Maybe this isn't Delta. Maybe that so-called herd immunity, where natural antibodies as well as vaccine artificial antibodies are so prevalent in the population at whole that the virus doesn't have a chance to spread, and even if it does, it's not going to result in the mass death and the overwhelming of our healthcare system. Because remember, folks, March 2020, when California went on lockdown, because we are broadcasting from Hollywood, California, a very cold Hollywood, California today, the whole point of the lockdown wasn't necessarily to protect the public. It was more so to protect an overwhelmed healthcare system. And we've seen the healthcare system adapt. I know, the brave first responders and the brave and selfless healthcare workers out there, they are still seeing a surge, but nowhere near what it was before. And the majority of those that we are seeing hospitalized are the unvaccinated. Get yourself vaccinated. Get yourself boosted. And I know this is anathema to a lot on the far left, but if you are vaccinated and you are boosted, live your life.
I know people that don't want to get vaccinated just because they want to stir up controversy. Yeah,
they become contrarians.
No, that's literally the reason.
Yeah. Call that the Joe Rogan.
It's just... it just goes to show how many people really only care about themselves.
Yeah, and...
truly, at the end of the day...
I think that there's going to be a lot of academic studies in the years to come on why certain demographics of people didn't get vaccinated. I was talking to a friend of mine, and an African-American gentleman, and he was saying that a lot of his family aren't vaccinated. And that, he tried to explain to me the deep distrust, systematic distrust that certain marginalized groups have towards institutionalized healthcare and just institutions in general due to systematic racism. Talk about that. I know there are people on the left. I know a lot of super left Bernie Sanders crunchy granola chicks that don't want to get vaccinated or get their children vaccinated. So it's kind of a nonpartisan issue. I understand too, Nick, what you said about people who don't want to get vaccinated out of a political statement, because I think that when the vaccine mandates started to happen, and also when I think that there was a lot of virtue signaling from the far left about vaccinations, that, because we live in a politically tribal environment, that people got their back up to that. But my broader point is, though, if you're vaccinated and you're boosted, live your life. If you want to wear a mask, I wear a mask in public, and I wear a mask around non-vaccinated people. It's no skin off my nose. I don't care. But if you're holed up like certain people I know watching MSNBC all day, and you think that the sky is falling like it's March 2020 again, it's not. And I think, we saw this play out at households all across America. There's a big controversy too. A right-wing pundit said that if, a family member won't allow you to socialize with other family members during the holidays because they are unvaccinated, that it's, the worst thing ever. That's a personal choice. Also, I think that people need to be held accountable too when they hold very large open door events. I'm going to speak to this in the next segment. Without even a forethought of COVID, without any sort of sanitizer or masks or proper ventilation. This is the world we live in. If you want to stop the spread, you take precautions, but also live your life. Because this virus is going to be with us for a long time. It is evolving, and as it does evolve, it will become less virulent and less likely to lead to hospitalizations and death. But the mental health of a lot of people has been declining because of this virus, because of these lockdowns. It seems like the goalposts keep moving. Dr. Fauci, who I think is a brilliant scientist, I think he might be a little bit ham-fisted when it comes to his media appearances. I think he's definitely fallen in love with the spotlight, but unlike others, I don't think he should be summarily arrested. He's a brilliant guy. But I think his credibility has suffered a little bit because every 6 months he says, we're right around the corner. And it turns out that's not the case. And I think that's what is causing a lot of the mental health crises, where it's the not knowing part. Just, I would say a month and a half ago, before the Omicron variant really started to spread, or was before it became reported on, people were really expecting that this is going to be the first normal Christmas they've had since 2020. I felt that way.
I forget where I heard this, but I believe it was from my dad. But there's recent things that they've seen in the past with past like viruses, and what it looks like and what happens near the end stage of that virus. Mm-hmm. And whatchamacallit, that's what they were saying we're in the middle of right now. We're at the end stages of it, so it's not as dangerous, which is why we shouldn't worry as much, but still, take necessary precautions like we have been. But I don't know, I forget where
Well, I agree. Wherever you heard that, I agree with that. I agree that it's time to balance those two things. Balance the fact that allegedly, we've heard this before, that we're so close to the end, but also be careful. But folks, get vaccinated, get boosted, and live your life. Davi, back in a minute.
I'm Al Simon, 91 years young. I created Balance 7 20 years ago. I don't believe God intended for us to be old and sick. For 10 years, I studied pH and how important it is to the immune system. No doctor or hospital can do what Balance 7 can do for you. Balance 7 is the key to unlocking a healthy immune system. In 3 days' time, you'll feel more energy, less joint discomfort, and clarity of thinking. Bring your body back to balance. Order now and receive free shipping and a free bottle of My Smooth Skin.
Get your body back in pH balance with Balance7.com. Balance 7 unlocks the immune system. Your body will respond in a wondrous way. Your energy level will go up, joint discomfort will be reduced, and heartburn no longer a problem. We have a 100% money-back guarantee. You have everything to gain. If you're sick and you don't want to be, Balance 7 is the answer. If you're healthy and want to stay healthy, Balance 7 is the answer. Go to Balance7.com. That's Balance7.com. Use the code word BALANCE and get free shipping. Balance7.com. That's Balance7.com.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization.
800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
For the getaway of your dreams, come to Hawaii's Playground, Ka'anapali Beach Resort, on the fun side of Maui, where the world comes to play. Find your spot on Ka'anapali Beach with 3 miles of white sand, 12 resort properties, 2 golf courses, and 2 shopping centers. Enjoy the playground of Hawaii's ancient royalty. Ka'anapali Beach Resort is Hawaii's original master plan destination resort and home of the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. With views of 2 neighboring islands, you can breathe in the land's natural beauty from your favorite resort or golf fairway. Come experience Ka'anapali's own special brand of Hawaiian hospitality with world-class dining, relaxing resorts, water sports, and activities of every kind. For romantic, family, and great friend getaways, discover the options of Ka'anapali Beach Resort, where the world comes to play. Plan your getaway today. Visit Ka'anapaliResort.com. That's KAANAPALI Resort.com.
Robert Davi.
I want you to know this is nothing personal. It's purely business.
And we're back. Robert Davi Show. I'm Mike Garey. Nick Davi sitting in. Robert on assignment. Happy post-Christmas week. This is always kind of a weird week, isn't it, Nick? Like the week in between Christmas and New Year's where it's like you're kind of back to work, but not really back to work. We're kind of it's just you and I here today.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy opening up this morning, like just being the only one. I was like, huh. This is kind of weird.
Did you go into like Mike Horn's office and, maybe like liberate some wine for yourself?
I ransacked
maybe
the whole fridge in there.
Take a nap on his couch.
Every bottle of wine I took a nap on the couch.
Nice.
I watched some TV on the big screen.
Yeah, looked at his emails.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was a good time. So shout out to everybody, back to work. Shout out to everybody that, maybe has a couple days off or is kind of doing that weird in-between thing where you're kind of at work, but also kind of still in your Christmas vacation mode. Before I get into this story, I want to talk about a super spreader event. I want to give President Trump kudos. I know that might sound
interesting,
a little interesting coming from me, who I've had not nice things to say. I've had, I think, well-established and well-warranted criticism in my point of view towards former President Trump. But Mr. Trump was at an event in Texas last week, and he said that the vaccine was one of the greatest accomplishments of his presidency. And he urged everybody in attendance and everybody who's watching and listening around the country, if not the world, to get vaccinated and get boosted. Good for you, President Trump. Good for you. You should be pleased with that accomplishment. Whether or not he actually believes this or he thinks that it's a good strategy for his bid to recapture the White House in 2024, either way, good on you, sir. He was booed, though.
Mm-hmm.
He was booed. Why was he booed?
I mean, everyone thinks he's the one that started, don't get vaccinated, don't wear masks. He never said that. He literally was the first one to say, we're going to get a vaccination. And because I remember that very clearly. And then all of a sudden, that's when the whatchamacallit happened.
When Delta happened, yeah. But,
Yeah.
and, he did, he got COVID himself. And if you read some of the reporting around that particular event, his symptoms were, I guess, a lot worse than was put out in the public. But he did recover. And now he is urging everybody, all Americans, to get vaccinated and get boosted. And yet he was booed. And there's a very contentious interview he took place with Candace Owens, where Candace Owens was completely pushing back against that. I find that fascinating. President Trump, love him or hate him, is now the standard bearer of the Republican Party, if not the entire conservative movement in this country. And yet, on this one issue regarding vaccines, and he was nuanced about it. He says that it is about personal choice, that one should be able to make that decision from themselves, or if they have minor children, to get the vaccine or not. But he forcefully recommended it. And if he did this a year ago, would we be in the same place we are now? I don't know. But like I said before, this is really not necessarily a party issue. And here we go for story time. I, Mike Garey, I have a very, very close friend who I've known for about 30 years. He is a prominent and successful Democratic strategist and comms specialist. He worked with Joe Biden. He worked with Hillary Clinton. He worked with a lot of different well-known and prominent Democrats in electoral politics. Of course, he is, a Democrat, and so he's fully subscribed to vaccinations, to masking, to all sorts of anti-COVID protocols. My man got married recently.
Well, congratulations.
It's his second marriage.
Okay.
Rolling those dice again, right, Nick?
My dad knows all about that one.
Hopefully they don't come up snake eyes. And he had a wedding. I wouldn't call it a destination wedding, but it was, outside of the city. And it was a rather large wedding. The head count was 170 people. On the invitations that were sent out, it said all guests must be vaccinated. This is before the booster really became available. I did not, I RSVP'd, no. Because first of all, I didn't want to go to a wedding a couple days before Christmas and put myself in a hotel room at great expense. And second of all, I was just a little bit sketched out still about COVID when the invitations went out. The invitations went out right when Delta was surging. And so I was a little bit sketched out about going to a large event right before Christmas and then perhaps returning from that event having been exposed to COVID and then bringing around my family, many of whom are getting up in years, who are a little bit older. Well, it turns out, Nick, that wedding was a superstar event. Turns out several guests have tested positive from reporting on the scene from other friends of mine that there was no masks worn at all. There was no ventilation. It was all indoors. The music was extremely loud, which causes people to yell at each other, to be heard over the music. And worst of all, that the seating was done at round table style seating, and the food was served family style for each of those tables.
Did you just like have a gut feeling?
Did I have a gut feeling that this was going to happen? Yeah, well, I'm just a cautious person to begin with. And so naturally, shortly after the wedding, he sent out messages to all the guest attendants being like, hey, sorry, guys. Well, first of all, I was like, thanks for coming to my wedding. By the way, several people have tested positive for COVID, so I recommend that you all get tested as well. This was literally 7 days before Christmas. Another friend of mine, a very nice man, he was at the wedding, and he was actually at the table where one of the people who tested positive was sitting. He has a 2 and a 5-year-old. His wife is immunocompromised. He could not risk bringing himself, who was exposed to COVID, back into the house, his house. And as anybody knows, you really need a 5-day period of quarantine if you've been exposed to somebody, because if you test, you might be still incubating the virus and not testing positive. So my friend who was exposed, he put himself up in a hotel, and he was really mad. He was really mad at the host of the wedding. Quote, redacted should be held accountable for having an indoor wedding with no COVID precautions whatsoever. So I asked him, like, well, what are you going to do? And he says my friend who is quarantining in a hotel because he was exposed to COVID 7 days before Christmas, he's going to send my other friend, the one that had the wedding, he's going to send him the bill to the hotel. He's going to send him the bill.
Oh, my God. So
that's going to cause a little bit of drama.
Oh, God.
My whole thing is that, and I think this is a broader point too, the broader lesson is that if it's about choice, folks. If you are uncomfortable with the way that an event is, and you're worried about contracting COVID, leave. Why didn't he just leave?
I mean, if he was going to tell his buddies, jump off a bridge with me, you know? Like, it's everyone's own decision to go or not, or exactly leave.
If I went into, and I've done this before, I've walked into a restaurant, and I've noticed that the tables are really, really close, and a lot of people aren't wearing masks, and it's just really kind of sketchy. I'll just walk out. I'm not going to yell at the restaurant. I'm not going to try to extract any sort of compensation from the restaurant.
Yeah.
And I can understand my friend who had to quarantine why he's so angry, because he's missing Christmas with his kids. That's terrible. But you can leave. If you're uncomfortable with the COVID protocols in any situation, be it a social situation, be it a business transaction, be it an out public, leave. Don't scream at the host. Don't scream at the server. Don't scream at the restaurant manager. Don't scream at the shopkeeper. That's what Karens do. It's choice, people. Like I said before, get vaccinated, get boosted, live your life. But it's time to move on. Davi, back in a minute.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has designed a collection of high-quality, custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience so you could enjoy your new bathroom faster than ever before. It's a worry-free bath remodel from the most trusted name brand in the business, Jacuzzi. A Jacuzzi bath system fits in your existing tub space. It's a no-mess installation with an amazing style selection, factory-certified installers, and a limited lifetime warranty. Just dial pound 250 on your mobile device right now and say the keyword update for 50% off installations with no interest and no payments for 12 months. Replace that old bathtub with a walk-in shower for a safer bathing experience. If you've lived in your home for over 15 years, it's time to remodel your bathroom. For a virtual or in-home appointment, dial pound 250 now and say the keyword update. That's pound 250 and say the keyword update.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet, fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808. Have you heard about Vine to Bar chocolate? It's the winemaker's chocolate, the world's first chocolate made with well-vined Chardonnay marc from the beautiful coastal vineyards of North America. Gently pressed grapes are harvested after juicing, dried and finely milled and carefully blended into the finest dark chocolate. The Chardonnay marc contains highly beneficial grape nutrients, flavanols, and has a natural sweetness that flavors the luscious dark chocolate. Mouth-watering, flavorful, delectable dark chocolate goodness with Chardonnay sweetness and beneficial nutrients. And it's alcohol-free, too. It's Vine to Bar chocolate. Order some today at vinetobar.com. That's VINETOBAR.com. Cold shipped to your door, it's Vine to Bar. Vine to Bar chocolate. Visit us at vinetobar.com.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization.
800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
The Robert Davi Show.
This is authentic.
Una furtiva lacrima negli occhi.
I think opera music is like one of the heaviest. Nick and I both like all sorts of music, all different kinds of genre. We like heavy metal a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing that heavy metal and opera have a lot in common, that they're both dark, they're both in minor tones, and they both are kind of heavy. So
Metallica just kind of, well, I mean, I think this was like a couple years ago now.
When they played with the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra.
S&M 2, man.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
S&M 2.
So I parenthetically, before we move on, yes, a lot of people's Christmas plans were canceled, if not altered, because of COVID and other factors. And one thing that I did miss on Christmas Day, that is, Christmas dinners every year, we have prime rib. No prime rib this year. I don't get to have prime rib that often. Maybe only once or twice a year. So I missed that. And so, you know what? Mike G really wants a steak. And so I think maybe later today after the show, I will get myself a steak to get my red meat fix.
Go over to the Outback Steakhouse. I mean, it's if you want like a really good steak for not like too much, because there's Fleming's, obviously Fleming's, but I'm a Ruth Chris guy.
Guy because we have a relationship. Sierra Digital Talk has a relationship with Ruth Chris, and so I think I might get myself a New York steak.
Oh God, I'm starving now.
Later on. So, and once again, thank you so much for joining us, Robert Davi, out on assignment. Sierra Digital Talk Radio, SierraTalk.com. Thank you to all of our affiliates around the country. And if you're listening, make sure to download our cell phone app. You can take us wherever you are on the go. It's a simple phone call. Dial pound 250, say Sierra after the tone, and the app will be automatically downloaded to your device. Also, this show, The Robert Davi Show, is available on podcast on Apple, on Google, anywhere you get podcasts, you can find us. And also all previous sessions are available in stunning high definition on YouTube.
Spotify too, baby.
Spotify too as well, absolutely.
Yeah.
So COVID, yeah. Reporting now, National Review is reporting that according to their sources within the CDC and other information in the public domain, that we will see an uptick in positive tests post-Christmas because a lot of people got together. It's getting colder. People are inside. But as we've seen, and the data is coming out right now, the Omicron variant, which is the most likely variant right now, is far less deadly and serious than previous variants. As the virus mutates, it evolves because a virus doesn't want to kill off its host.
Sounds like a Pokemon.
Or the theme for...
You can literally put it into the Pokemon theme song. Omicron. I'm trying to think of something. Omicron. Can't catch it at all. It's so stupid.
So what's the next variant going to be called? Because, of course, the certain variants were we skipped over because the name would actually maybe sound very similar to the Prime Minister of China. But another thing. All right, moving on. This kind of got a lot of traction, and President Biden and his lovely wife Jill were at the Children's Hospital of Washington, D.C., which is a tradition that First Ladies have done, I believe, ever since Rosalind Carter, where on Christmas Eve they would go visit, sick kids at a hospital. It's a very nice gesture. And this year, actually, Joe Biden showed up, too. That was nice of him. And he took calls from the audience, and, it was very, very, perfunctory and very kind of ceremonial, where people would call in, he'd wish them happy holidays and Merry Christmas and give them best wishes on a Happy New Year. And one of the callers got through. Somehow they got through the call screener, and anybody who knows and works in radio has had that happen before. It's very embarrassing when you're screening calls for a radio show and a caller who maybe has a divergent agenda gets through and then gets live on the air and says all sorts of wild stuff. Well, this gentleman got through, and he uttered the phrase, which has become quite popular in the culture right now, "Let's go, Brandon." I'm sure anybody out there who's listening, who reads a newspaper or lives in the world, knows that "Let's go, Brandon" has now become an epitaph for Joe Biden, substituting some expletives that we can't say on the air. Look, folks, some people think it's funny, and we're actually seeing now sitting members of Congress show up with "Let's go Brandon" masks, "Let's go Brandon" shirts, "Let's go Brandon's" kind of hashtag. What has happened to decorum in this country? I don't care if you don't like Joe Biden. I don't care if you don't like President Trump.
Yeah, I was always taught to show, no matter who the president is, to show them respect. Because, they're just, at the end of the day, they're the leader of this country.
Even if you don't respect the man, respect the office.
Yeah. Exactly.
As I go back to before, anybody who knows me or has listened to my broadcasting before knows I'm no fan of President Trump, but I really always tried to refer to him as President Trump because he was president. He got elected. This "Let's go Brandon" thing, you think it's cool, you think it's subversive, you think it's edgy, but it makes you look like an idiot. Because it's not about policy. It's not about, you're not articulating any sort of disagreements with Joe Biden and the Democratic Party's policy. And what do you want? Do you want the squad? Because every time that this happens, where you push either side, left or right, into a box, that left or right becomes more insular and more siloed. So every time you say "Let's go Brandon," look, folks, Joe Biden is, love him or hate him, President Joe Biden is a centrist. He's a centrist Democrat. He's not a squad member. Do you want a President Bernie Sanders? I don't. Joe Biden's what we got. "Let's go Brandon." It's childish. It's disrespectful.
It's like a lot of it's a number of things that are going on in the world today that are like that.
Are you 14 years old? Come on. And to say that on Christmas, to play a practical joke involving hospitalized, some terminally ill children, and to use that as the stage where you're going to go say, let's go Brandon to the world. All right, you know what? If you want to wear a Let's Go Brandon mask, or if you want to hashtag Let's Go Brandon on Twitter, even if you're a member of Congress, fine. The voters can hold you accountable.
But on that day,
on that day, in that setting,
what you would like to hear, honestly, is Mr. President Biden, even though I may not agree with your opinions or your views on things and what you've been doing lately in this country, but I'd just like to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas.
Or don't call. Don't call.
I feel like if we saw that on national TV instead of just, the childish stuff.
And the gentleman that uttered this statement, I'm not going to name him because I think that he doesn't deserve any sort of recognition. He has now become a political celebrity. He was on Newsmax yesterday, and he says that Joe Biden's not my president. That President Donald Trump should still be president because this election was 100% stolen. First of all, that's untrue. And second of all, maybe that's why he did it. Because nowadays, look at the Lorraine Bobberts, the Mallory Taylor Greens, and just suppose that with the Ilhan Omars and the AOCs of the world. Now it's become this performative kind of edgelording has become a way to make yourself famous. This dude's name, who, like I said, I'm not going to mention, he was trending on Twitter for the past 2 days. He's already been interviewed by countless conservative outlets, and he's become a hero, a cause celeb, for being a crass, rude 14-year-old. It's like the internet has become real life. One thing that people know who are on the internet a lot is that you're not yourself on the internet. You don't believe there's actually studies based on this. There's academic studies and research on this. You can look it up. You think you're on the internet and you have some sort of semi-anonymity, but you don't. Not anymore. And so what happens is you become a character within yourself. You would say things that you would never normally say in polite company or just in your general day-to-day life. But because there's a false sense of anonymity, a false sense that you're just a small drop in the pond of the internet as a whole, that you can say whatever you want and there won't be any consequences. But there is consequences. There's consequences of the coursing of the dialogue in this country, of the siloing effect. Right's going to go more right, left's going to go more left. No more consensus. No more compromise. Davi, back in a minute.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day, and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
855-525-7454. 855-525-7454. That's 855-525-7454.
The Robert Davi Show.
Mike? You let me down, Mike. You're making me look bad. I thought we had an understanding. And all I expect is a little cooperation!
Sorry, Robert. Then we're back, Robert Davi Show. Mike Garey sitting in, Nick Davi, Sierra Digital Talk Radio, SierraTalk.com. Thanks to everybody who joins us. Happy post-holidays. Like I said, the weird week in between Christmas and New Year's. And one thing that's happened in these past couple of years, much to my delight, is that a lot of streaming services will release really great content this week or at the end of December in general. Matrix, the new Matrix Ideation came out. I watched it. Nick has not. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoyed the way that they set up kind of the reboots. It was very nice to see the old characters and my girl Trinity, who I love, and it's real. That was the one takeaway. I talked about this on Leo's show last week, where The Matrix is one of the few movies where it was a very singular experience in the culture. Where when that movie came out, I believe it came out in 1999, I want to say, where anybody who went and saw that in the theater came out with their minds absolutely blown and absolutely in love with Trinity. That was really good. Also, I'm super excited for season 4 of Cobra Kai, which will come out on New Year's Eve. Several good documentaries have come out as well.
I'm excited for that Beatles documentary.
Beatles documentary is fantastic. I recommend it. Also, I really enjoyed...
Oh, it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, on Disney Plus. I really enjoyed an Alex Gibney documentary that just came out on Netflix, or excuse me, on HBO Max, called Crazy Not Insane. It's about dissociative disorder. But another movie that came out, I believe 2 nights ago, was an Adam McKay film. It's called Don't Look Up. It's a satirical science fiction film written and co-written by Adam McKay. Also, one of the other writers involved was David Sirota, who is a longtime political consultant and political consigliere to Bernie Sanders. It's getting a little bit divisive on the old social media regarding this film. Nick and I will give our review shortly, but just want to kind of talk about the background right now. This film is definitely an allegory for climate change. Adam McKay has said so. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, both of whom are fantastic, and both of them, I believe he made $25 million for the picture. She made $20 million. Jonah Hill's hilarious. Meryl Streep was fantastic. It's a good film.
Who was that guy that played the doctor?
The doctor, or like the Bezos?
The Bezos
guy.
What a character that was.
He was,
oh my god,
an immense character. He really, people are saying, well, it's an amalgamation of maybe Bezos or Tim Cook, or it's pretty much an allegory for any of like the big tech guys out there. We weren't going to spoil anything, spoiler-free zone. But also, I mean, the cast as well just goes on. Tyler Perry was fantastic in it. Timothy Chalamet, Ron Perlman was hilarious. Michael Chiklis was in it for like 5 seconds, and he was still great in it. Kate Blanchett, and of course, the aforementioned Meryl Streep. There's one shot in the movie. Meryl Streep plays the president, and there's a shot in the movie where on her desk, there's a photo of her, and this is in the film, of her hugging Bill Clinton. And so there's a lot of debate on whether or not this character was based on President Trump. As we know, Adam McKay, no fan of President Trump. Or if it was based on Hillary Clinton, if Hillary Clinton was actually elected president. I think that's kind of left ambiguous to the audience. But there's a lot of Hillary Clinton stands out there who, once they saw that David Ciorta wrote this movie, David Ciorta was Bernie bro in chief, and also very, very hard on Miss Clinton during the primaries. And so there's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of very far left people who liked it. There's a large pro-Clinton conglomerate who hated it because of that just one shot. I'm not going to comment on that.
I think the reason he did that, well, I mean, I think what he did and what he went for was, it doesn't matter who's in office nowadays. It doesn't matter. Like, they're just going to lie about everything.
That's 100% true, Nick. It's 100% true.
It's not directed at just one person or one side of a political party. It's about the entire world.
Exactly. It's tough on the media. It's tough on the political binary.
Both sides.
Exactly. I thought that the film made me feel a way that I haven't felt in a film in a long time. There was a sense when I was watching it, I was kind of really filled with anxiety because the dramatic device where there's an impending comet to hit the Earth. And so I felt like I'm watching a disaster film, but it's a satire.
It's got everything, you know. It's a beautiful movie at the same time it's terrifying and funny, and it's got like every mood in there.
Yeah. Adam McKay's got a kind of unique directorial style where he'll intercut a lot of footage that almost looks like stock footage. He uses a lot of handhelds. But I thought that Leo's performance was really good. I thought that Jennifer Lawrence was revelation. I've never really watched the Hunger Games, or the only Jennifer Lawrence film that I can remember would be American Hustle. But she can't take her eyes off her in this movie. And of course, Leo is just, one of the finest actors of our time. I thought that the tone could be a little bit flippant sometimes, but I guess that was the idea. This is going to be a divisive film. I would imagine that this will win some awards, because one thing that Hollywood likes is Hollywood loves a movie with a message.
It's unfortunate that people think it's unfortunate in general that it's dividing people at all, because when I watched it, I thought, like, if anything, this will bring us together. But I mean, this world is just so far gone to understand or like comprehend any message that's sent towards their way that it's.
Well, even just
there's like no hope.
They're just going to see Adam McKay on the masthead of the movie, and they're not going to go see it, and they're just going to malign it without even seeing it, because Adam McKay is a known progressive who makes movies about progressive themes. The Big Short, Vice, so on and so forth. But it's good. $95 million Netflix spent, 50 of which went to Leo and went to J-Law, which was surprising to me. I thought that Leo, who has been a climate change activist for pretty much his entire career, is it hypocritical for him to demand that much money to be in a film where he actually gets to express his political views? Will that dumb down the message? If Leo gives a great monologue to close out the film about climate change, as a metaphor for climate change. He gives a tremendous soliloquy about the dangers of science rejection and the dangers of political tribalism and political expedience. But when I read that he made $25 million for it, I mean, I don't bemoan anybody. I mean, Nick, you're an actor. If someone paid you $25 million to make a movie about killing rabbits, go for it, bro.
I don't know. I think DiCaprio's like a different type of celebrity. Like, if you look at his Instagram compared to pretty much 98% of the celebrities we have in this world today, like, he doesn't post cars or him out at parties or anything like that. It's all about the environment. It's all about like what he believes in. Like, and he actually puts so much money into the environment and like anything that has to do with that, like the wildlife foundation.
Yeah, that's all well and good though, but wouldn't his message and wouldn't the film be more powerful if you knew that he was doing this for scale? That this is a project that he believed in so much because it aligns with his political policy ideas and policy agenda, that he took de facto no money to do that. I think it would. I think that would actually be better for the film in terms of marketing, and I think more people would see it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't bemoan Leo. I don't bemoan anybody for taking what they want. If you're good at something, never do it for free. But if you do something and you're passionate about it, you don't want to maximize your own paycheck. But, hey, maybe
Is that what he did?
I don't know.
Or did Netflix just be like, did they just run up to him? Hey, Leo, here's $30 million. You want to be in this movie? Here's the script. Read it.
Or as you know, too, I mean, maybe Leo didn't have anything to do with the negotiations of his salary. Maybe his agents just did it. But
yeah, that's usually what happens.
But Netflix, you know, if they want to become, you know, a true movie studio, which they are at this point, and they want to get top tier talent, they're gonna have to pay for top tier talent. But I think there's a difference between paying top dollar for talent, but also bringing them in for a project that they really care about. It's a good film. It is divisive. There is some flaws to it, but I think it will definitely be around for awards season just because it speaks to the audience that who the Academy votes for. I mean, it's really kind of, that's the one disappointment I had with it. I thought that it was so heavy-fisted and ham-handed that if you're on the fence, if you perhaps, you know, have more conservative political leanings and maybe are a little bit skeptical about climate change to begin with, it's not going to change your mind because it treats people who have any sort of questions about the nuance of climate change or environmental science as idiots. And I think that even if maybe I disagree with those who believe that climate change is not necessarily a serious problem or that we should definitely weigh the economic risks to significantly altering our economy for climate change purposes.
It's definitely a real thing.
Of course.
It hasn't snowed in Colorado for like 250 some odd days.
That's true.
Which that has like never happened.
But if you really want to change things, you're not going to change things by calling people who disagree with it idiots. You try to persuade them using facts and evidence, using kindness and empathy. You don't do it by shame. You don't do it by degradation. You don't do it by name calling, i.e., let's go Brandon guy. It's kind of two sides of the same coin with that. But check it out. You might like it. I'm Mike Garey. Nick Davi. Happy New Year for all the people out there. Take care. See y'all later. God bless America.